Here's one question for every NBA team, starting with the San Antonio Spurs, and their question is, how will the Spurs prioritize and develop Victor Wembanyama to impact the team's future? The Spurs are gearing up for a new phase, largely centered around the development and integration of Victor Wembanyama into their roster. This promising young talent, nicknamed the Alien, brings a versatile skill set that demands careful nurturing. First and foremost, the Spurs must ensure Wemby's health and durability, as his long-term availability is crucial. They need to identify his role within the team, considering his ability to contribute as a perimeter player and a defensive presence. Skill enhancement is a priority, with a focus on improving shooting, ball handling, and decision-making if they envision him as an offensive force. Off-ball spacing and playmaking are essential areas of his development, enabling him to mesh seamlessly with his teammates. Patience is vital, acknowledging that Wembanyama's immediate impact may be gradual. The Spurs should strategically build around him, utilizing their cap space to attract complementary talent, and use draft capital as well to gain younger talent. Mentorship from experienced players and managing expectations are essential components of his growth. Ultimately, the Spurs' ability to navigate this developmental process will determine their future success, potentially elevating Wembanyama to the forefront of the team and the entire NBA. Next up, the question for the Detroit Pistons is, are there enough minutes for all their bigs? They face a daunting challenge as they grapple within a logjam in their front court, boasting 5 players best suited for the power forward or center positions in Jalen Duren, James Wiseman, Marvin Bagley, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Isaiah Stewart, who just signed a massive extension of 4 years, $64 million, which is the first rookie extension the Detroit Pistons have signed in over a decade. When it comes to the starting spot, Duren is the clear choice, given his youth, talent, and potential for stardom, despite needing to make minor tweaks defensively. On the bench, James Wiseman seems like a logical choice. He's a promising yet raw prospect, only 22 years old, with room for growth. His expiring contract allows for patient assessment of his development, even though defensive and decision-making issues persist. Unfortunately, Marvin Bagley may seem like the odd man out. His injury history, age, and limited skill set make him less favorable, and his contract complicates his trade value. Keeping both Wiseman and Marvin Bagley as costly backup centers seem inefficient, necessitating a likely trade to address other positional needs, especially on the wing. Balancing these front court talents will be pivotal for the Pistons' long-term success. The Houston Rockets have undergone a substantial offseason change, including hiring coach Ime Udoka and acquiring experienced players like Fred VanVleet and Dillon Brooks. These moves aim to elevate the team from its perennial 20 to 25 win status. However, success hinges on several factors. Udoka's coaching and player development could be pivotal, especially for young talents like Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun. The competitiveness of the Western Conference adds a challenge, making it hard to predict a significant win increase. Context matters here. The team's progression, competitiveness, and the development of the young stars are crucial. The Rockets must balance short-term competitiveness and long-term growth, meaning they can't go all in for winning, while guys like Jabari Smith and Jalen Green still have to develop. General manager Rafael Stone's position could be at stake if substantial improvement doesn't materialize. While the Rockets' offseason signings of veterans may bring short-term benefits, there are valid arguments for the continuing of their rebuild. First, prioritizing player development and accumulating high draft picks could yield a stronger foundation for the future. By signing veterans, the team risks slowing the development of its young talents, who could have benefited from more prominent roles. Second, rebuilding teams often have more financial flexibility to make impactful moves in the future, such as signing star players or making trades for franchise-altering assets. Third, the NBA's landscape is ever-changing, and the Rockets could miss out on the next wave of superstar talent in the draft by trying to compete immediately. Ultimately, while veterans can improve a team's win column, the Rockets' long-term vision and ability to contend for championships may have been better served by staying the course in their rebuilding efforts. The 2023 season serves as a critical evaluation point for these changes and the franchise's future direction, ultimately questioning, should the Rockets have just kept rebuilding or gone all in on winning now? Charlotte Hornets' question is, can LaMelo Ball take that next step? While Ball has demonstrated immense talent and versatility, his trajectory toward becoming an NBA All-Star caliber player will define the team's direction. In the previous season, Ball averaged 23.3 points and 8.4 assists per game, showcasing scoring improvement despite a slight dip in shooting percentages. His potential to become a nightly difference maker and elevate his teammates while staying healthy could catapult the Hornets to relevance. However, Ball's defensive capabilities and unpredictability on the court have raised concerns. To address this, the front office may build a roster around him with defensive-minded players. While Ball is highly regarded, he ranks just outside the top 20 guards in the Bleacher Report prediction for this upcoming season. The Hornets possess a young, talented roster, and Ball's growth into a superstar could expedite their rise in the Eastern Conference. Nonetheless, his health and continued offensive development are critical factors that will determine the team's success. If Ball stays injury-free and reaches his superstar potential, the Hornets have the potential to move away from being a bottom-tier team and be a serious threat in the postseason. The Hornets are depending heavily on LaMelo Ball, and if he proves in the next 2 years he can't stay healthy, the Hornets might need to blow it up. The Portland Trailblazers' big question is what's their plan regarding the potential Damian Lillard trade, and will they choose building around him or their younger core? After 11 seasons with the team, Dame's desire to move to a contending squad with the Miami Heat as his preferred destination. However, several other teams, including the Brooklyn Nets, Philadelphia 76ers, San Antonio Spurs, Toronto Raptors, and potentially the Phoenix Suns, are potential suitors offering various trade packages. This trade request has put the Trailblazers in a complex position. They aim to secure the best possible return for Lillard, which could include young players, draft access, and a salary cap relief. Simultaneously, they need to balance their commitment to winning and fan loyalty. Adding the Blazers' challenge is the integration of the young guards, Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, and Anthony Simons in the backcourt. There's no shortage of guard talent when it comes to the Blazers, but they won't all be able to peak together. The team must determine the roles and playing time for these budding talents and need to choose either long-term development or short-term competitiveness. Ultimately, I think the Trailblazers need to blow it up and rebuild around their younger guys. Both Scoot and Sharpe have the potential to be two of the best guards in the NBA 5 years from now, and trading Dame after the best season of his career and getting the best value they can, while also trading Anthony Simons to get great value as well for a rebuild, will set them up for a crazy success in the future. The Orlando Magic have a similar problem with their point guard dilemma and face a unique situation with a surplus of talented young point guards, including Markelle Fultz, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, and Anthony Black, who just got picked. Fultz, the former number 1 overall pick, secured the starting point guard position due to his defensive skills and stability. But Cole Anthony and Suggs have shown significant improvement in their decision-making and shooting efficiency. Despite their potential, either Anthony or Suggs will likely be traded within the next year, as the team cannot guarantee permanent starting roles for both. At the same time, just 2 months ago, the Magic used their 6th overall pick in the draft on Anthony Black, another defensive-minded playmaking point guard who isn't that much of a scoring threat, which kind of fills in the same mold as the other 3 guys they have. Coach Jamal Mosley has been flexible in distributing minutes based on matchups and player performance. The Magic are in a developmental phase, aiming to strike a balance between player growth and competitiveness. The decision on the starting lineup, particularly the lead guard position, remains a challenging one, crucial for the team's future success. Utah Jazz question is simple. Should they push forward to contend for the playoffs or take a step back and continue their rebuild? Their roster boasts a mix of youth and talent, including players like Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, and Keontae George, along with seasoned veterans such as Jordan Clarkson, Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, and John Collins. There are compelling reasons to make a playoff push. Fans crave improvement post Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, and a playoff run would boost engagement. While the Western Conference is challenging, a strong season could see them land in the play-in tournament or secure a higher seed. Playing meaningful games could accelerate the development of their young talent. The team needs to provide them with opportunities to succeed or fail. Preserving cap space in a weak free agency class and managing assets for future moves might be the wiser long-term strategy. But, on the other hand, there are reasons to be cautious. The main issue is they lack 1 or 2 star alpha players. Roster continuity is great on this team, but winning teams always have that 1 or 2 players that just take them over the top. In essence, the Jazz must find the right balance between contending for immediate success and nurturing their young core. Patience and moves for a star could be key for their future success. The Washington Wizards question is who should they build around? In their quest to establish a core for the future, 4 players have emerged as potential building blocks. Bilal Coulibaly, versatile French prospect who just turned 19, who possesses the tools to become a key role player with room for improvement, particularly in shooting, but also has tremendous star upside if everything goes right. Corey Kispert, known for his elite shooting, can provide valuable floor spacing if he enhances his defensive skills. Deni Avdija, despite offensive challenges, offers defensive prowess and should be viewed as a key role player in development. Jordan Poole, though, acquired from the Warriors, brings scoring potential and represents a significant investment in the team's future. Balancing the development of these young talents with the contributions of veterans like Kyle Kuzma and Poole is vital in the season where the Wizards anticipate challenges and prioritize growth. Tyus Jones, a veteran point guard, plays a pivotal role in maintaining this balance by acting as an on-court coach and facilitating player development. As the Wizards embrace a rebuilding phase, the draft will be their way of getting stars for the future, but they have some solid guys to start the rebuild. The Dallas Mavericks face a critical challenge in ensuring the long-term contentment and commitment of their star player, Luka Doncic. Despite no signs of discontent, Doncic's demeanor during the previous season's challenging moments raised concerns. To secure Doncic's loyalty, the Mavericks must avoid 3 potential disasters. Firstly, another management or coaching overhaul, which could disrupt Doncic's trust and continuity within the organization. Secondly, they must navigate the Kyrie Irving situation with care, as mishandling it could lead to problems down the road. Lastly, the team must prevent any internal rifts, as a previously strained relationship between Doncic and a staff member demonstrated the importance of maintaining harmony within the organization. The Mavericks have responded by making calculated offseason moves, demonstrating their commitment to improving the team around Doncic. By surrounding him with talent and addressing key issues, the Mavericks aim to secure his long-term commitment and contend for an NBA championship, aligning their aspirations with their franchise players. While NBA success is never guaranteed, the Mavericks' proactive approach to commitment to building a competitive team position them well to retain Doncic and achieve future success. The Indiana Pacers' question is, who is their second star? The Pacers are currently in the process of identifying their second star player to complement Tyrese Haliburton and solidify their foundation for the future. While they have several offensive options, including Miles Turner, Buddy Hield, Benedict Mathurin, and potentially Jarris Walker, it remains unclear who will emerge as their clear number 2 offensive weapon alongside Haliburton. This ambiguity isn't necessarily detrimental, as the Pacers can still be a competitive offense with multiple contributors. However, having a dependable go-to scorer, perhaps someone like Benedict Mathurin, could elevate their offensive capabilities significantly. Haliburton has shown improvement as a scorer, but having another star-level scoring threat would be a game-changer for the team. Whether the Pacers find their second star through player development, the draft, a trade, or free agency, this step is vital in determining their long-term success and solidifying their identity as a competitive NBA team. The 2023 season will be crucial in this quest for a second star and defining their foundational players. The biggest question for the Oklahoma City Thunder is, how good is Chet Holmgren? The former number 2 overall pick faced a significant setback due to a season-ending foot injury. Despite concerns about his slight build and potential injury risk, it's crucial not to prematurely label him as a bust. Injuries have plagued talented big men in the past, but players like Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons overcame lost rookie seasons to have successful careers, somewhat, for Ben Simmons. Holmgren possesses a unique skill set that combines shot blocking prowess, ambidextrous interior finishing, and 3-point shooting. His basketball IQ and defensive instincts are also highly regarded. With a year to absorb NBA knowledge from the sidelines, he could return stronger and better prepared to make an impact. The Thunder, featuring rising star Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and other young talents, are in a position to compete. Holmgren's presence could address their defensive weaknesses. For Rookie of the Year, ironically, Holmgren's case holds weight, especially if he returns from an injury to make a significant impact. While Wembanyama was hyped as the top pick, Holmgren's unique attributes and potential contributions can't be underestimated, and while his future in the NBA remains uncertain, writing him off as a bust is premature, and he may still have a promising career ahead of him. The Chicago Bulls are facing a critical decision. Do they want to contend for the upcoming season or embark on a full-scale rebuild? With some teams overhauling their rosters, the Bulls seem inclined to stick with their current core of Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic for the next season. But this decision might be short-sighted. I think that the Bulls should seriously consider a complete rebuild. While LaVine, Vucevic, and DeRozan are talented players, they may not be enough to win a championship together. This core hasn't even secured a guaranteed playoff spot, which is concerning for a franchise with a storied history. A rebuild could allow the Bulls to acquire valuable assets in return for their star players, and start fresh. However, the team's actual intentions remain uncertain, as they've shown no desire to dismantle their current roster. Heading into the summer, it was evident that the Bulls needed change after a recent playoff disappointment. Although they made some minor additions, they seem poised to maintain the status quo. Unless they make a substantial move to reshape their roster, the Bulls may find themselves in another season with limited success, prompting further questions about their long-term strategy. The New Orleans Pelicans face a simple question: can Zion Williamson stay healthy? Williamson has been plagued by ongoing injury concerns. Williams' ability to stay healthy is very important, as his repeated absences could force the team to contemplate trading their star player. Despite possessing significant talent, including Williamson, Brandon Ingram, and CJ McCollum, the Pelicans have struggled with injuries in the recent seasons. The critical question revolves around whether Williamson can maintain his health and contribute consistently to transform the Pelicans into contenders. Williamson's dedication to improving his fitness and injury prevention strategies is a positive sign, as his conditioning has been a concern in the past. The Pelicans' future hinges on Williamson's availability, with the potential for rapid success if he can remain injury-free. However, continued injury woes may increase pressure on the team to explore trading options. The upcoming season will be a crucial test determining the trajectory of the franchise and whether they can build a winning team around their young superstar. For the Toronto Raptors, can former Rookie of the Year Scottie Barnes take a 30-year leap? After a promising debut year, his sophomore campaign left much to be desired. His declining shooting percentages and the team missing the playoffs with the departure of Fred VanVleet on top of that, the Raptors are leaning heavily on Barnes to take on a more significant role, particularly as a primary ball handler. Barnes possesses physical attributes that make him a versatile defender and offensive force in the making. His potential is evident, but he needs to refine his ball handling, improve his shooting, and step up as a leader for the team's young core. His defensive prowess with his size, wingspan, and agility make him a valuable asset. As the Raptors aim to transition toward their youthful nucleus, Barnes has an opportunity to shine and determine the team's future direction. His third-year performance will be pivotal in showcasing his potential as a franchise cornerstone and whether he can lead the team's success in the competitive NBA landscape. The challenges ahead including adapting to a new roster and proving himself as a primary ball handler and elite defender. The Minnesota Timberwolves must decide if they should trade Karl-Anthony Towns. Just last summer, the team acquired big contracts like Rudy Gobert and is now confronted with the financial challenge of retaining emerging stars like Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels. This situation is further complicated by the looming luxury tax implications under the new collective bargaining agreement. The Timberwolves are increasingly inclined to build their team around Anthony Edwards, who has shown immense promise and star potential. This shift in focus on Edwards as the franchise centerpiece has raised doubts about the compatibility of Towns and Gobert in the team's plans, especially given the league's trend towards smaller lineups. However, trading Karl-Anthony Towns is a complex decision, requiring careful consideration of the return value. It's also crucial to note that Rudy Gobert's contract, which is substantial and extends several years, makes trading him a less feasible option. The Timberwolves must choose to pivot their strategy towards building around Anthony Edwards. Trading Towns might be a consideration, but the team's focus on Edwards and Gobert's contracts make it a challenging decision with significant implications for the franchise's future. The Atlanta Hawks must address how they can get a third star. Recent early playoff exits have urged the Hawks front office to shake things up. They made a big move by acquiring all-star DeJounte Murray last summer, but are still pursuing additional star power. One of the primary targets in their sights is Toronto Raptors all-star Pascal Siakam. However, acquiring would demand a substantial trade package. Atlanta has offered DeAndre Hunter, AJ Griffin, and draft picks, but Toronto remains cautious about parting with their best player. Siakam's impending free agency adds complexity to the equation, potentially costing Atlanta dearly. To make the deal financially feasible, the Hawks have considered including DeJounte Murray and Clint Capella. This approach could be mutually beneficial, with Atlanta offsetting Siakam's salary and Toronto finding replacements for key positions. Despite the challenges, the Hawks' pursuit of a third star, given their $9 million cap space, could reshape their roster dynamics and elevate their competitiveness in the league. As the season unfolds, trade rumors are likely to persist as Atlanta seeks to strike the right balance between short-term success and long-term sustainability. The Los Angeles Lakers are coming into the 2024 NBA season with a clear weakness in perimeter shooting. They entered the 2023 offseason with a clear mission to also enhance their three-point shooting. While they haven't addressed that weakness significantly, the Lakers have shown they can make some stuff work during the trade deadline. Despite their past playoff success, they've identified the need for more shooters to support LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Their strategies include potentially getting shooters at the deadline, and with Buddy Hield being on the market, he could definitely be a viable option. Or they could opt to just improve some young talent, such as Max Christie, Austin Reeves, and Rui Hachimura. Newly signed Dante DiVincenzo could be a target in the trade deadline. The outcome may hinge on LeBron James' decision to continue playing or retire, which would significantly shape their roster and their plans. Trade proposals like acquiring Buddy Hield from the Pacers are being considered, but ultimately, the Lakers are committed to surrounding their star duo with improved shooters to maintain their championship aspirations in the upcoming season. The Miami Heat are in major contention for a premier player. Their question is, can they land Damian Lillard? The Miami Heat's pursuit of Damian Lillard is a high-profile NBA trade saga. Lillard, the star point guard of the Trailblazers, has expressed a desire to join the Heat, who are seeking to bolster their roster following a disappointing 2023 NBA Finals loss. However, Portland has been cautious in accepting any offers from Miami, seeking the best possible return. One major obstacle in negotiations is the Heat's primary trade asset, Tyler Hero, who's another guard. Nonetheless, Hero's value is recognized across the league, making him an attractive trade piece. If the Heat and Blazers can't agree on a Lillard-Hero trade, other teams have emerged as potential trade partners. The Brooklyn Nets, Orlando Magic, and Phoenix Suns have been mentioned as potential suitors, each offering different trade scenarios involving Hero and other assets. With the start of training camp approaching on October 3rd, there is significant pressure growing to resolve this situation. Lillard's desire to join the Heat and the Blazers' pursuit of a favorable return may drive them to revisit trade discussions in the coming weeks. The outcome remains uncertain, but it's a situation that NBA fans will be closely watching as it unfolds. For the Golden State Warriors, does the acquisition of Chris Paul help their championship hopes? Paul, an esteemed veteran, brings exceptional leadership and winning pedigree to a team already featuring Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. His accountability and experience enhances the Warriors' ability to thrive in high-pressure situations. Paul's arrival also diversifies the team's offensive approach. While known for their ball movement and three-point shooting, the Warriors gain a versatile scorer with Paul. His mid-range game and pick-and-roll skills provide new options, making the team more unpredictable on offense. Furthermore, Paul's playmaking abilities complement Curry and Green, forming a potent trio capable of exploiting defenses. With sharpshooters like Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins, the Warriors can create mismatches and open scoring opportunities. The addition of Paul also improves the struggling second unit, offering efficiency and stability during bench minutes. Additionally, his mentorship will benefit young talents like Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, accelerating their development. The Brooklyn Nets need to figure out if their roster is good enough to compete in the playoffs and make a championship run. Currently, without traditional star power due to injuries and contract situations, they possess a group of valuable starters and assets. Key players like Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris, Nick Claxton, Royce O'Neal, and Patty Mills are on expiring contracts, making them potential trade chips. The Nets also hold a cachet of future draft picks, allowing for them to leverage in trade negotiations. The pursuit of a superstar like Damian Lillard or Jaylen Brown would require substantial assets, and players like Dinwiddie and Harris could be included in potential trades. Young talent, including Cam Thomas, adds depth to their roster. Ben Simmons, though highly paid, remains a wildcard due to injuries and performance concerns. The Nets' long-term strategy appears incremental, focusing on gradual improvement while maintaining flexibility. However, projections indicate that some core players may not be at their peak when the team aims to compete around 2025. The next few years will be pivotal in shaping the Nets' championship aspirations, balancing the desire for immense success with long-term planning as well, while building around their star, Mikal Bridges. The LA Clippers face a critical question regarding the health of their star players, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Both players have had a significant history of injuries, with Leonard suffering an ACL tear in 2021 and George dealing with an ACL tear in 2022. These injuries have limited their availability, with the duo playing together in only 41% of the team's games under coach Ty Lue. With the NBA's new rules of not being able to rest two or more star players, Kawhi and PG will now be forced to play more games than they ever had in the regular season. However, this approach can be risky in terms of exaggerating existing injuries. The Clippers have also worked on building a more complete roster to reduce the reliance of their stars. As the upcoming season approaches, there is optimism that Leonard and George are on track to be fully healthy. The success of the Clippers largely hinges on their ability to stay injury-free and perform at their best. If they can remain on the court consistently, the team has a better chance of contending for an NBA championship because they do have all the talent necessary. Do the New York Knicks have the assets and players to potentially acquire another star player? Several factors come into play. They possess valuable assets, including their first-round draft picks for the next 6 years, and potentially different picks from prior trades. Young talents like RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, and Mitchell Robinson could be enticing trade options. The team's decision hinges on whether to maintain its current core, which achieve playoff success, or make a blockbuster trade to contend for a championship. The core, led by Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, demonstrated promise but fell short of elite status. With concerns about net rating and shooting, the availability of star players like Joel Embiid and Donovan Mitchell in trade discussions also influenced the decision. Managing fan expectations is crucial. Given raised hopes after a successful season, the future of these star players with their current teams remains uncertain, potentially creating opportunities for the Knicks. Ultimately, the Knicks have the assets, but their success in acquiring another star depends on various factors including player availability and team strategy. The Phoenix Suns' main question is, can they find success without a true point guard? After trading Chris Paul and Cameron Payne, this strategy hinges on the trio of Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant, all exceptional scorers, but not traditional point guards. Beal, who will likely assume the role of the normal point guard, has shown an increasing willingness to distribute the ball in recent seasons, while Booker has averaged over 5 assists per game. The Suns will rely on pick-and-roll plays, isolation situations, and Durant post-up's ability to generate offense. They may also exploit their star players in screening and shooting skills to create mismatches and spacing. However, the absence of a true point guard could pose challenges in transition, an area where Chris Paul excelled. Furthermore, the Suns' preference for two-point shots over three-pointers, despite having capable long-range shooters, could be a strategic concern in today's three-point-oriented NBA. Opinions vary among fans and analysts, with some confident in the Suns' offensive firepower and flexibility, while others believe adding a traditional point guard could enhance their ball movement and transition game. Ultimately, the success of this unconventional approach will depend on the team's ability to adapt, defend against opposing guards, and harness the unique skills of their star trio as they strive for an NBA championship. The Cleveland Cavaliers face the question of Donovan Mitchell's future with the team, which is uncertain despite his impactful 2022-23 NBA season. The Cavaliers surprised the NBA by acquiring him from the Utah Jazz after trade talks with the New York Knicks stalled. Mitchell's performance helped the team secure a playoff spot, but rumors persist about his potential departure. Mitchell is under contract until 2026, with a player option for 2025 to 2026, giving the Cavaliers one more season to win a championship before his potential free agency in 2024. Cleveland has built a promising young core with Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jarrett Allen on top of Donovan Mitchell. While they aim to retain Mitchell, his commitment remains unclear. Team president Kobe Altman emphasizes Mitchell's commitment and desire for success with the Cavaliers. The team's recent success, Mitchell's involvement in recruitment, and positive feedback about the organization bolster the Cavaliers' effort to keep him. They aim to emulate the Denver Nuggets' patient approach to team building. Mitchell's decision hinges on the Cavaliers' ability to build a competitive roster and their performance in the upcoming season, which will all ultimately shape his fate with the team. The Sacramento Kings aim to answer their big question: was their remarkable 2022 to 2023 season a one-hit wonder, which ended a 16-year playoff drought? They look to make new additions in Chris Duarte, acquired via trade, and free agent Nerlens Noel, strengthening their roster. EuroLeague MVP Sasha Vezenkov adds depth, while losing undersized center Richaun Holmes. Last season, De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis emerged as stars, earning all-star selections. Mike Brown won Coach of the Year, and Keegan Murray made all-rookie first team, reinvigorating Sacramento's basketball spirit. The Kings had quite a summer, extending Harrison Barnes and Trey Lyles, while adding Chris Duarte and veteran JaVale McGee. Despite having a versatile roster, concerns linger about their defense, which struggled last year. The front office's steady approach and solid core have instilled confidence. They possess valuable trade assets with future first-round picks in a competitive Western Conference. Maintaining consistency and defensive improvements are paramount. The Kings look to build on their success and prove their competitiveness in the upcoming season. Memphis Grizzlies faced the challenge of making the playoffs without their star point guard, Ja Morant, who's missing 25 consecutive games due to suspension. Despite this step back, historical data suggests that the Grizzlies can perform reasonably well without Morant. They boast a 33-17 record without him since the 2021-22 NBA season, demonstrating their ability to win games. The success of the Grizzlies during Morant's absence hinges on their young core of players like Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane, and other role players. Interestingly, the team's defensive rating improves without Morant on the court, indicating a stronger defensive presence during his absence. The only downside is, they did lose Tyus Jones this offseason, who was huge for them while Morant wasn't playing. But they did make the addition of Marcus Smart, known for his leadership and defensive prowess, further strengthening the team's defensive ability. While securing a top seed in the Western Conference may be challenging, the goal is to secure a playoff spot, as demonstrated by the Miami Heat's recent success, showing that you don't need a top seed to go to the finals. Overall, the Grizzlies have a reasonable chance of making the playoffs without Morant, given their amount of depth, defensive improvement, and leadership come to the forefront during this challenging period. The Boston Celtics face a big question regarding their trade for star Kristaps Porzingis, which is how he will fit into the Boston Celtics. On paper, some ways the Celtics could integrate his skill set is with his elite three-point shooting and versatile scoring options, which can significantly enhance the team's offense, offering floor spacing that benefits stars like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Additionally, Porzingis' ability to excel in pick-and-roll situations and his underrated playmaking can add valuable dimensions to the Celtics' gameplay. Defensively, Porzingis brings shot-blocking prowess, rim protection, and the flexibility to guard multiple positions at 7'3", bolstering the team's defensive capabilities. His presence should allow Tatum and Brown to be more aggressive defenders and help the Celtics regain their defensive identity. However, Porzingis' injury history remains a concern, and his financial fit within the team will depend on contract negotiations if he can stay healthy and integrate seamlessly within the existing core. The Celtics have a strong chance to contend for an NBA championship with this. The Denver Nuggets' biggest question is how will the departures of players such as Bruce Brown and Jeff Green during the offseason affect this upcoming season. These players contributed significantly to the team's depth and versatility. With these losses, the Nuggets will rely on young talents like Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, and Zeke Naji to step up and fill the void left by these departures. And while these players did show promise, they lack the experience and proven track record of the departed veterans. Maintaining a strong bench is crucial during a demanding NBA season and playoffs. The core trio of Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter Jr. remains intact, providing a solid foundation for the team. Jokic in particular has emerged as an MVP caliber player. The Nuggets must also explore options in free agency or trades to address their depth concerns. Winning a championship has shifted their status from guys looking to hunt people down to everyone targeting them, which increases the pressure on their core of players to lead the team to the quest to the sustained success. Despite the challenges, the Nuggets' championship experience and strong core give them a competitive edge in the Western Conference as they aim to remain title contenders for back-to-back years. The Milwaukee Bucks face a simple question: did they move the needle this offseason? They successfully secured the re-signatures of All-Stars Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez, providing continuity and stability to the team's core. The acquisitions of Malik Beasley and Robin Lopez add depth and skills to the roster. However, there are concerns on multiple fronts. The departures of Javon Carter and Joe Ingles, key bench players, could leave a void in the team's depth. The core of the team, apart from Giannis Antetokounmpo, is aging, making it more likely that they'll start using load management to their advantage. The lack of a reliable backup point guard, especially given Drew Holiday's injury history, remains a significant issue. The Bucks front office expresses confidence in their current roster and emphasizes the presence of secondary ball handlers, but this approach may be risky in the competitive Eastern Conference. Young talents like Chris Livingston and AJ Green show promise, but may need time to develop. But coming into the season, the Bucks definitely look like a front runner in the East.